But in order to get even closer, we have to switch ships to a bigger one, and that's what we're doing now.
In my land-loving ways, I had thought our boat would sidle up to another vessel and we would hop across a plank, far from the case.
I hope we don't lose anything, like ourselves. Oh my God, oh my God. Okay. I feel so much better that we're actually on this little boat. Now we're heading out to 8003, which is a much bigger vessel.
8003, a 1,600-ton vessel ordered by the Vietnamese authorities to patrol the area near the rig and remind the Chinese that Vietnam still claims these waters.
Okay. Actually, I feel oddly relieved to be back. Well, not on land, but it's at least much sturdier than before. Thank you. So let me show you around the ship. This is going to be our home for the next 3 days. Okay, over here. Cameraman is going to be staying in that room. And I'm staying in this room. Right here. This is going to be my bed. Up to the bridge.
Here, I meet the crew of CSB 8003, led by Captain Hung Van. Every day, Captain Hung and his crew attempt to get their vessel close to the rig and warn the Chinese to stop their drilling.
So these are all the Chinese ships. This is the oil rig. And this is our ship now.
This is platform of China, and around is China's ship.
Today, I'm told the Chinese ships outman Vietnam's 110 to 5. With so many ships out here, it's difficult to know what to expect. The lookout scours the horizon for Chinese vessels.
So after hours of waiting, we're finally getting a closer look at the Chinese oil rig. It's right over there.
The HD 981 oil drilling platform is a football field long and 40 stories high and is said to be worth $1 billion, according to the Chinese oil company that owns it, CNOOC. My observation is cut short.
At this moment, there are 8 Chinese Coast Guard ships approaching to stop this boat.
We're 8 nautical miles or 15 kilometers from the rig when this Chinese Coast Guard vessel blocks our path.
Attention! Attention! This is Vietnam Sea Patrol Force.
The broadcast seeming to have the opposite effect of its intention, making the Vietnamese a target rather than scaring away the Chinese. On the horizon, we see Chinese reinforcements moving in. We soon find ourselves surrounded and are forced to fight. They're preparing to salute their country, even as they suspect the Chinese surveil overhead. Vietnam is facing its worst confrontation with China since the two communist nations went to war in 1979. In any battle at sea, these men would be on the front line. Today, they show their patriotism in a ceremony that local reporters will broadcast across the country. Their government wants its people to know that Vietnam is prepared to stand up to China. Thanks in part to the dedicated crew of 8003.
Attention! Attention!
Minutes later, duty calls, and our vessel heads back to the rig.
We've only been here for a couple of minutes, but already one of the Chinese ships has come to chase us.
Out of nowhere, a Chinese Coast Guard boat comes hurtling towards us. The Vietnamese count it's one of 9 Chinese ships suddenly on our tail. It's agile and moving fast, ready to collide at any moment. It gets about 100 meters behind us before drifting back, the further we speed away.
You can feel the tension in the air. It's definitely a standoff between the Vietnamese and the Chinese. We were just getting a little bit closer to the oil rig when this Chinese Coast Guard ship came towards us, and now it's moving us away.
A boat of our size can weather this attention. Not so for Vietnam's smaller fishing surveillance ships. These boats, I'm told, lack the speed to outrun the bigger Chinese vessels. Small fry trying to stay a safe distance ahead in the major leagues as heftier rivals speed over in formation.
请注意
These ships, I'm told, are particularly vulnerable to ramming and water cannons, action feared on both sides.
This time we didn't see any ramming or water cannoning, but we've been told that it's become increasingly common because the tensions between the two countries is so high. Even today, it was
Another island group in the South China Sea claimed by multiple countries. He says when he heard about the Chinese oil rig, he volunteered to come here.
Every Vietnamese, including me, is willing to sacrifice to defend Vietnam.